I'm Liza. I'm a third-year undergraduate, and my major is data science.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm a fourth year, and I'm double majoring in math and data science.
And our poster is same scale, different meaning, temperament across different cultural and linguistic groups. First, what is temperament? Temperament refers to stable personality-like traits that are observable from infancy. This includes how easily a baby gets upset, how much they enjoy being around other people, their physical activity level, as well as how shy they get around strangers. And this is usually measured through parental primary caregivers, where they rate their children on a scale. Now, what makes it interesting is that different cultural backgrounds, immigration, language, all shape how parents perceive and describe their children. So the question is, if we try to observe the differences between the children, is it true differences in temperament, or is it true differences in how parents perceive the scale? So to measure this, we have the emotionality, activity, sociability scale, the AS scale, which measures the 4 different subscale on a 5-point Likert scale. And this uses data from 371 first-time parents from the bigger longitudinal study of baby books too. To analyze these results, we have an analytic plan including t-tests between the groups, between the English and Spanish-speaking groups, as well as US-born versus immigrant groups. Second, we focused on an ANOVA test, which involves interaction terms, except US-born Spanish was not included due to low sample size. And further, this led us to do item-level analysis to again explore whether it's true differences between the groups, or is it differences in how different parents respond because of their cultural and linguistic backgrounds. Now, for results, we have our preliminary analysis. We saw that activity and sociability differed significantly between language and nativity. So you can see that English and US-born parents do have higher mean averages in comparison to the Spanish and immigrant parents. And then a one-way ANOVA did confirm these results, showing that there is a significant differences. But now that we do have a significant difference, it doesn't really explain why. And that's what led this motivation to see the true temperament differences, like an item-level analysis, because two children can have the same temperament, but parents could still rate them differently. This could not because of the child specifically, but how the item reads differently around different cultures and languages.
So moving into our differential item functioning results. So we want to see if parents rate their children differently, even if they have the same underlying temperament level. So looking at our first subscale of shyness, 2 out of our 5 items show differential item functioning. And we can see here, immigrant Spanish is this teal color right here. Immigrant Spanish speakers needed the higher level of shyness to rate their children high on the shyness scale. So this suggests that for English parents who view their children as shy, Spanish parents may just see that as normal behavior. Moving on to emotionality, all 5 items show DIF, which is interesting because in our preliminary analysis, the group level means weren't significantly different. And this item here, child often fusses and cries, is really interesting because where an immigrant Spanish-speaking parent may rate their child around a 3, that same child, if viewed from an English speaker, would be rated as about a 5 in emotionality. So this suggests that the Spanish translation for emotionality items may imply more extreme behavior. Looking at sociability, 3 of the 5 items show DAF, kind of a similar story of the immigrant Spanish speakers being more reluctant to rate highly. And also something interesting we see is that the immigrant English and immigrant Spanish speaking curves are very similar. So this suggests that culture may play a very large part in how sociability is perceived in children. And lastly, looking at activity, as we see our 2 English groups kind of have a gradual increase on child is always on the go, but the immigrant Spanish has that kind of sudden jump, which suggests that those parents need very high peaks of energy to rate their child high in activity. And also kind of an overall trend we see here is that the immigrant English-speaking curve is kind of in between the US-born English and the immigrant Spanish-speaking curve, suggesting that both language and nativity kind of play an additive role in differential item functioning. So yeah, ultimately our project shows that you can't just look at group level means, you have to look at it on the item level, and then also you have to view assessments in their larger linguistic and cultural context.